Good morning, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
I'm just waiting for at least some 50 students, 60 students to join. Even after 10 minutes, only 47 students have actually joined. So what should we do? Anyway, we can start.
They will join in a while, sir. We can start off.
How much while they will actually join? It's almost 10 minutes after the starting of class. If this actually continues, I will be actually forced to take some quiz or something at the beginning of the class. Okay, so only those who actually submitted, I will actually correct it and all. Okay, so let everyone know that. So if it is actually still continues, then I will actually put some. Okay, so those who are actually not written, their marks will be actually lost. We can actually give maximum up to 10 to 15 percentage weightage for this surprise quiz and all.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So let everyone know that.
Sir, you are not audible. Sir.
I'm sorry, I actually muted the mic somehow. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, I muted the mic. Yeah. So yesterday we were actually seeing what if the thermal resistance or different modes comes in series. We don't have to worry anything. We have to simply sum it up and consider it as a resistance in series. We said that we can actually do it for a partial one or a full one. If you're actually considering a partial load, then we have to actually consider only the thermal resistance in that much area. Okay, if you're actually considering the full potential, okay, if you're actually considering the full potential, then we have to consider the wall wall resistance comes in that way. And then we started seeing on to the composite walls. In the composite walls, we were actually saying it is actually the walls with the different uh, yeah. So they are actually the walls with different materials connected in a series or in a parallel mode. So we said we showed that using this thermal.
Sir, you are not recording the class.
So because of this, using the analysis of electric analogy, we can simply calculate what is actually the heat flux through that. And we said that since there is actually no heat generation or something, the heat fluxes are always going to be constant throughout. So we can actually take either the partial potential difference or a full potential difference itself. And then we actually introduced the concept of overall heat transfer coefficient. And then we were actually seeing on the composite walls with parallel connections also. So we said that we can treat again, it is actually an thermal load in parallel, and we can actually do the analysis. Then we actually introduced to the concept of contact resistance, in which the contact, if the contact is actually, in all of the cases, the contact is of not that much high perfection. So therefore, there is always going to be some gap in between, which is actually filled with the surrounding fluid. In most of the cases, it is actually air. So because of that, there is actually going to be a huge, or it may not be huge, but there is actually going to be a resistance in between two surfaces. Obviously, this, whatever the diagram shown over here, it is actually highly exaggerated. Obviously, this gap will not be actually this much. Okay, but still, there is actually going to be a small resistance. And because of that, there is actually a temperature drop between the surfaces. And it is actually, we said that we can actually reduce it by putting some grease in between or by using some soft materials. So these are actually some values experimentally found using the values I have actually taken from Incroper and De Vitoli. So we can actually see that the thermal resistance values vacuum interface. So that means if you are actually having two surfaces and the medium in between is actually completely evacuated, if that, okay, if that is actually the case, then what is actually going to be the thermal contact resistance? So that means you are having two surfaces. Okay, you are having two surfaces. They are actually comes in contact between each other. As we said, we are having two surfaces. They actually comes in contact with each other. Okay, and it is actually the vacuum interface means the air or whatever the medium in between, it is actually evacuated. Everything is actually going to be evacuated, and it is actually press fit with each other using a nut bolt or something. We can actually do this. That is actually the case. Then what is actually the resistance? We can see that if you are actually giving a pressure of 100 kilonewton per meter square or something, then the contact resistance is 6 into 10 raised to minus 4, because here whatever the value is actually given, it is actually multiplied by 10 raised to 4 and then shown. Okay, yeah. So it is actually shown over here. Yeah. So again, one thing which I didn't mention was actually the unit of contact resistance. It is meter square per Kelvin per watt. Okay, unit of thermal contact is meter square per Kelvin per watt. Okay. Yeah, so you can actually see the values are actually very small to the power of 10 raised to minus 4. If you are having a medium in between, suppose if you are actually air instead of a vacuum, if you are actually having air in between, you can actually see that the values, it is actually going to be 2.75 into 10 raised to minus 6. Okay. So that means the resistance is actually reducing. Instead of 6 into 10 raised to minus 4, it actually reduced to 2.75 into 10 raised to minus 4. The resistance is actually obviously reducing. Okay. So likewise, thermal resistance of solid-solid interface, we are having a different type of silicon chip with a lapped aluminum with indium foil filter in between. We can actually see that if you are actually putting a foil in between, so that means an metal is itself is actually being put in between. In that case, you can see it is just 0.07 into 10 raised to minus 4. Okay. So there is a huge drop in the thermal resistance we can actually see. Okay. So you can actually, these are actually some typical values of thermal resistance. You can see it is in the range of 10 raised to minus 4 to 10 raised to minus 6 in that range. So these values are actually not that considerable, but for an accurate measurement of the system, it need to be actually considered. Okay. Yeah. Anything else? Any questions in this part? If you have any doubts, we can actually discuss. Otherwise, we are actually moving to the next part. Okay. Yeah. So now we are actually moving to the next part. Okay. So here, till now, what we are actually saying is we are actually dealing with 1D steady condition without heat generation, right? So now we are actually going to see what happens if there is actually going to be a heat generation in the system. Okay. So first of all, we said that obviously if there is actually going to be heat generation and all, we cannot actually have this thermal electrical analogy and all. So why is that, etc.? We will actually see now. Okay. So any doubts in this 1D conduction without heat generation, because that is actually the simplest of all. If you can actually understand that, everything is actually going to be easy. So if you have any doubts, even a minor doubt, if you have, you can actually call back. Okay. So now we are actually going to see 1D steady condition with heat generation. Okay, so that's what we are actually going to see. Okay. Yeah. So we know that in many of the practical problems, in many practical situations, heat generation, heat is actually going to be generated in the medium. So in many practical situations, heat is actually generated in the medium. So many practical in engineering applications and all. So this is actually mainly due to conversion of energy from one form to another. Due to conversion of one form of energy to another. So can anyone give any example? Can anyone give an example for an energy generation? Can anyone give an example for an energy generation? Okay. If you're actually passing an electric current, what happens? If you're actually passing an electric current, then what happens? So there
Heating effect.
There will be heat loss.
Yeah. So if you are actually passing through that, because of the resistance, I square R. Because of the resistance, some heat is actually going to be generated. It is equal to I square R. If you are actually calculating the total heat generated, I square RT, right? So it's passing of electric current, or you can actually say nuclear reaction. So because of nuclear reaction, the nuclear energy is actually converted to heat energy. Okay, or we can actually say absorption of electromagnetic radiation. Okay? Absorption of electromagnetic radiation. So that is actually so here the electromagnetic generation is actually converted to heat generation by the system. Okay, if you are actually having a plate or something in the light in the sunlight, then you can actually see that that plate is actually going to absorb the heat, and it is actually kind of a heat generation, you can actually see. Okay, so that heat light is actually converted to the heat generation. Okay. So if this volume generation is actually uniform throughout, if the power generation or heat generation, in many of the cases, it is actually uniform throughout. Okay, so power generation is actually uniform throughout, then it is actually something as easily for us. Okay, throughout, then we can actually use the term the volumetric heat generation. The volumetric heat generation. Okay, heat generation. It is actually called as a Q gen or a Q dot or Q triple dot. There are actually many conventions being actually used. So in our, we will actually using Q dot as the Q generation or volumetric generation. So as the name suggests, it is actually the energy generated per unit volume. Okay, so or we can actually say watt per meter cube. Okay, where V is actually the volume of the system. Volume of the system. Okay, so but provided that the heat generation should be actually same throughout. So in that case, we can actually see what is actually the volume generated per unit volume. Then we can actually do the analysis, because we have actually seen that if this is actually the case, then why we are actually saying is because for a constant volume approach and all, we actually saw that this is where it is actually comes into handy, and with this basics only, we actually derived that basic conduction equation. Okay. So now we are actually going to see, practically we are actually going to see with an example what is actually the temperature profile within the system with this heat generation. Okay. So for that we are actually doing the same thing whatever we actually did for without heat generation. First we will actually write down the basic equation, and we will actually see what are the boundary conditions, and then we will actually solve this basic equation, and we will actually write the temperature profile in terms of constants, and we will use our boundary conditions to find what are actually the constants in the solution. Okay, so that's what we are actually going to see. Temperature profile in a slab with heat generation. Okay, we can actually say 1D conduction. So that's what we are actually going to see it over here. Okay, yeah. So we can actually see this is actually the slab. Okay. This is actually the slab. You just don't draw for now. I will just tell you when to draw. Right? So usually we are actually saying x is equal to 0 and x is equal to L. That's what we were actually saying, right? And we were actually saying that temperature is actually varying from T1 to T2. So that was our basic thing. Okay. So, but in this particular case, we can obviously solve with these conditions. Okay, with x is equal to 0 and x is equal to L. So that obviously we can actually do, but you will actually see later that it is actually easy for us if you are actually assuming the dimensions like this. X is actually varying from x is equal to minus L to plus L. So that means somewhere over here, yeah, that means somewhere over here we will be having the, it's not at the center, right? Yeah. Somewhere over here we will be having the value x is equal to 0. Okay, so we will see later why we are actually taking this, but you can actually do with x is equal to 0 to L or 2L also. You can actually do, there is no harm in that, but here we will see why it is actually going to be like this. Okay, and do you know how the temperature variations probably will be? Yeah, just for a starting, I'm just giving some temperature profile. I'm just giving like this because here you know that there is actually heat generation and all. So most probably there is actually going to be a temperature highest in between itself. Okay? So if there is no heat generation, obviously the temperature peak maximum temperature cannot actually come in between. Since there is actually heat generation, I am taking a chance and I am actually saying that the maximum temperature is actually comes inside this, not at the surface. Okay? So let's see what is actually going to happen. So therefore, T1 and T2. So we are actually seeing our simplest boundary conditions at x is equal to minus L. T is actually given as T1, and x is equal to plus L. You are actually giving T is equal to T2. Okay, so mind that the total width is actually now is equal to 2L. Okay, So, and I said it is just for convention or easiness, we are actually saying it is actually varying from minus L to plus L. Okay. So can anyone tell me what is actually the basic equation? D square T by dx square plus or is equal to 0. What is actually the term comes over here? Q gen divided by K is equal to 0. Okay. So that is actually the basic equation that we have to use. So this is actually 90. Okay. So now we are actually going to solve the equations. When we are actually integrating twice, what is actually the solution coming? What is actually the solution coming integrating twice? Or say integrating once? Integrating once?
Minus q dot by k x square plus c1x plus c2.
You are actually saying integrating twice, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So integrating once, we will actually get q dot by k into x plus c1. Okay. Integrating twice, you will actually get d is equal to q dot by k minus q dot by k s square by 2 plus c1x plus c2. Very good. Okay. Yeah. So this is actually our solution going to be. But we know there is actually C1 and C2, etc. So we need to actually find what is actually that. So obviously we are actually going to put our basic equation. X is equal to minus L. We are actually getting T1 is equal to minus Q by K L square by 2. So minus C1L plus C2 because X is equal to minus L. So that's why we are getting a minus before C1. Okay. Then we can actually call it as A. At x is equal to L, we are actually going to get T2 is equal to minus Q by K. Okay, Q generated by K, L square by 2 plus C1L plus C2 because this is actually x is equal to L. So that is actually equation B. So from here you can see that there is actually two equations and two unknowns. Only C1 and C2 are actually the unknowns. Okay, so we are actually doing A minus B. If you are actually doing, then you are actually getting T1 minus T2 is equal to, what is that? Minus 2 C1 into L. So therefore C1 is equal to T2 minus T1 divided by 2L. Okay. Are you following me? Or am I going too fast?
We are following, sir.
Yeah. So C1 is equal to T2 minus T1 by 2. So now we are actually adding that A plus B is equal to T1 plus T2 is equal to minus heat generated by K into L square. So now C1L is actually going to be cancelled. So we can actually say 2 C2. Okay. Yeah. So here by L square, that by L square came, they are actually going to be added up, and this by 2 in the denominator is actually going to be gone. So therefore we can actually see that C2 is equal to Q generated by K into L square by 2 plus T1 plus T2 by 2. Okay. So therefore our basic equation is actually going to be T is equal to minus K by 2K x square plus T2 minus T1 divided by 2L into x, okay, plus Q generated by 2K L square plus T1 plus T2 by 2. Okay, so this is actually the C. Okay, so this is actually the temperature. So we can just modify it a little bit. Okay, so there is actually nothing much by 2K. Okay, so this is actually a form, but in order to make it a little bit more aesthetic, we are just writing like terms and all. We can actually write Q generated by 2k into L square 1 minus x square by L square. So we are actually combining the terms, say 1 and 2. We are actually combining these two terms. That's it, nothing else. Plus T2 minus T1 by 2 into x by L. Okay. So here we are just taking this L out, plus T1 plus T2 by 2. Okay. So that is actually the temperature variation. So we can actually call it as 20. So only that. So we can actually write a note or something. If wall was actually taken considered from from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to 12, will this temperature profile be same? We are actually saying here the wall is actually from minus L to plus L. So instead of that, if you are actually considering x is equal to 0 to x is equal to 12, will this temperature profile be same? What do you think?
No, sir.
It will not be. Yeah, very good. Because there is actually x terms in between. So it shouldn't be actually. So therefore, we can actually say that if it is actually considered from 0 to 12, this equation is actually different. The equation is different. Okay, it is actually going to be there because here you can actually see that the flux is dependent on the x handle. The profile, it is actually dependent on the x handle. Okay, but see, we will later see there is actually something different, even though x is actually there. Okay. So now, yeah, so that is
Excuse me, sir.
profile.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
Sir, by if we see the compare the equation number 20 and equation number 12, we can see that the coefficient of x has not changed that much. Only that in equation 20, the coefficient of x has just half.
S6 has, but here again, heat generation term is actually now included, right?
No, sir, I'm asking about this coefficient of x, sir.
T1 minus T2 by 12, you are saying?
Yes, sir. Just
Yeah.
it is half, sir. If we just compare with the equation number 12 and 20, here the coefficient is just half.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that is actually true. So here because that is here as you are actually saying, so there we are actually considering from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to L. Okay, so that part of a steady equation, 1D steady equation, is actually still valid. So that's why by changing these dimensions and all, we'll be actually getting some terms for the x. Okay? But the main difference is that here there is actually an x square terms comes in between. Okay, yeah, very good observation you are having. So yeah, so if you are actually taking only this much part, it might be actually almost going to be okay. But still, the main difference is that we are actually going to have a x square terms comes into picture due to this heat generation term. Okay, so that's what actually making all the difference. Okay, so very good observation you are having. Is that what you actually want to say, or is there any further to discuss with you on that?
No, sir, I was just
you are comparing
saying
it,
that
right?
coefficient is retaining the same. Just it is
Very
taking
good.
half.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, coefficient is actually retaining the same. So yeah, so that is because it is actually superimposed. We can actually say that the heat flux here now is actually superimposed onto whatever we were actually seeing in the previous condition. Okay, so here the half is actually there because we have now having a slab of 2L length, right? So if you are actually having only L, then obviously these 2 L's also goes away. Okay, you understand? So here we are having a length of 2L, so that's why even this one saying. So in that case, in that sense, the coefficient of x is actually same only. You understand? You got that point?
Sir, can you show
Yes.
A plus B equation?
Where is that? I don't remember.
Sir, just upwards.
Yeah.
Sir, this is lecture 6. We need to go to lecture 8.
No, this
Sir,
one
here.
only, right? So T is equal to T1 minus T2 by L into X. This is what the equation told us. Yeah, the coefficient of X is actually talking about the slope of the temperature. Okay, T1 minus T2 by L. So here in our slab, we were having a slab of length L or thickness L. But in our new condition, so we are having a slab of thickness 2L, right? Because we are actually taking from minus L to plus L. So that's why there is actually 2L, 2 is actually comes into the picture over here. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that is just part of our whole equation. So together with that, we are actually going to have a parabolic also function also comes into picture over here due to the heat generation. Okay, so that's what it is actually going to make all the difference. So now we are actually going to see a little bit more into this analysis of the temperature here because we have so much things to be actually analyzed over here. The first one is actually obviously, yeah.
Sir, can you show equation A plus B?
Equation A plus B, yeah. From here, we will actually get A plus B means we are actually cancelling only these terms. So these terms, C1 term is actually going to be cancelled out.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So any doubts still here? Yeah. So because here now it is actually going to be very interesting now. So the temperature profiles, etc. So first we are actually going to see the flux. Okay. So in order to find the flux, we need to actually find the slope dt by dx. Okay. So dt by dx, if you are actually doing, you can actually see that the first term is actually going to be cancelled off the one term. So what you are actually going to get is minus q by k. So 2x is actually going to be there. 2 and 2 cancelled. L square terms are actually going to be cancelled. Minus heat generated by k into x plus. So this term is actually going to be there. Second term is actually going to be there. T2 minus T1 by 2L plus last term is actually going to be cancelled off because there is actually no x value over there. Okay. So this is actually going to be the slope. So then we can actually see that Q is equal to minus K dt by dx into A. Okay, Ka dt by dx. So if you are actually putting that, then value you are actually getting is K into Q by K into X. Okay, Q generated by K into X plus we are just cancelling off the negative values. We are getting into the negative values inside. So it becomes T1 minus T2 divided by 2L into A. Okay. So this we can actually give us equation 22. So this is actually what the heat flux is actually all talking about. Okay. Yeah. So this is actually the heat flux talking about. Then here there is, yeah, so here we can actually see that heat flux, heat transfer is actually going also a function of x. Heat transfer is also a function of x. Okay, the heat transfer is also going to be a function of x. Okay, so it is actually difficult. So difficult to do the thermal resistance analogy. So difficult to analyze using electric resistance or thermal resistance analogy. We can actually say electric analogy is actually. Okay. it is difficult to analyze using electric analysis. Otherwise, we have to actually input some battery and all. Again, things is actually going to be complicated. Okay. Yeah. So this is what the equation is actually going to be. Again, so this is actually the common equation is, so we are actually saying we are having some T1 and we are having some T2 and all those things. Okay. So now we are actually going to have something special. So initially we said this is actually going to be our equation. Okay. So this is actually what our slab is looking like. So since there is actually x square term and all, so it is actually something like this. It is obviously not going to be it is actually not going to be like this. It is not linear or something. So since x square term is actually there, we can actually see that there is actually some place where this heat generation is actually going to be maximum. Okay. So we said therefore T1 over here, T2 over here, at some x location, the heat flux is, or the maximum temperature is actually going to be over here. So now we are actually going to have a special condition in which T2 is equal to T1. Okay. We are actually considering the special case. Okay. Special case T1 is equal to T2 is equal to some surface temperature Ts. We can actually write. We can actually say Ts. So now we are actually going to see how the temperature profile will be actually looking like. Okay. So we have the temperature variation over here. So in that case, since the T1 is equal to T2, the second term actually cancels out, right? Second term is T2 minus T1. So since the T2 is equal to T1, second term cancels out. And the last term we can actually write as Ts itself. So T1 plus T2. So that is actually going to be 2 Ts divided by 2. So that is actually going to be Ts. So from equation 20, we can actually write as T is equal to K L square by 2K into 1 minus x square by L square plus Ts. Okay. So this is actually a special condition in which we are having a smooth boundary condition. Because we are having the same temperature boundary condition on both sides. And what is actually the heat flux? Heat flux is actually going to be dt by dx is equal to minus q by k minus heat generated by k. So this is also heat generated by k into x. Okay, so that is actually going to be our dt by dx. So now we are actually going to see where this maximum temperature probably going to happen. Okay. So, but we know that maximum temperature at where, how to find the temperature maximum or minimum?
dt by dx equal to 0.
Very good. dt by dx is equal to, so it can be actually maximum or minimum. Then we have to actually again do the second differentiation and we have to actually write down. But still, for in our understanding, for us, we know that this particular situation from the physics of the problem, we know that it is not the minimum that is actually comes in between. Since we are actually talking about the heat generation, if it is a heat sink and all, then the minimum is actually comes into picture. Since we are actually talking about heat generation, obviously the maximum is what going to happen. Okay. But where is this dt by dx 0 happens? From this equation? From this equation, where does this dt by dx 0 happens?
At x equal to 0.
Yeah, very good. So, and this happens at x is equal to 0. Okay, so therefore we can actually, yeah, and we can actually give our temperature profile also. Yeah, and what is actually the temperature at x is equal to 0? Temperature at 0 is actually going to be, okay, we have to put 0 over here. We are actually putting 0 over here. What we are getting is QL square by 2K plus Ts. Okay. So Q generated L square by 2K plus Ts. Okay. So that is actually the temperature at the center point at x is equal to 0. Okay. So if you are actually having this x is equal to 0, this x is equal to minus L, x is equal to plus L. So therefore we can actually see that the temperature is actually coming maximum at the center and it is actually coming down. And it is actually symmetric also across the x is equal to 0 line, because maximum we are actually happening over here, and both sides the temperature profiles are, or temperature boundary conditions are actually same, and the heat generation is actually constant throughout. So we must be actually having this kind of a symmetric profile. Okay, so that is where yeah, so this is actually what everything is actually going to be interesting. Okay? Yeah, so this one we can also write it in the form T0 minus dx divided by T0 minus ds is equal to x by L square. Okay, so I'm not going to derive this. It is very simple to derive this one. Okay, so you can actually do a calculation, because here, yeah, so T0 is equal to QL by Tk plus Ts. Okay, you can actually put that into this equation. Okay, you can actually put that into equation 23, or you can actually, so if you're actually doing that, then you can actually come up with this particular term. Okay, so anyway, this is just another form in which we are actually writing that. Okay, you can actually derive that. We can actually try that. So, but we are actually interested in this concept of x is equal to maximum, or temperature is actually maximum at x is equal to c. We are actually very fascinated about that. We are actually going to explore more into that sense. Okay. So therefore, we are actually saying is on both sides of x is equal to 0, on both sides of x is equal to 0, the profile is actually same. Okay. So therefore, we can actually say that the x is equal to 0 is actually the plane of symmetry. So if you are actually having this plane, so on both sides, we are actually going to get the same temperature profiles. Okay. So therefore, we can actually write x is equal to 0. This is actually something side deviation I just wrote. Okay. So our main focus is actually on the temperature profile. X is, yeah, from here also this temperature profile also you can actually see that it is actually going to be a symmetry. If you're actually putting x minus x or plus x, you are actually going to get the same thing. Yeah. Okay, so here also you can actually find that if you're actually putting plus x or minus x, you're actually going to get the, from this equation, if you're going to put plus x or minus x, you are getting the same equation. Okay. So from all this, we can actually see that x is equal to 0 is therefore a plane of symmetry. Plane of symmetry. Okay, a plane of symmetry. And we actually wrote that therefore at a plane of symmetry, dt by dx is equal to 0. Okay? So all these things we actually wrote. Okay? So we said that maximum is actually coming at x is equal to 0, and it is actually plane of symmetry. Since it is actually coming to maximum over here, we can actually write dt by dx is equal to 0. Okay? So, but what does dt by dx is equal to 0? From mathematical point of view, it is actually the point where t is actually maximum. Okay? So, but what from heat transfer point of view? Okay, heat transfer point of view, dt by dx equal to 0 means what? At a plane, at a particular plane, if you are actually saying dt by dx equal to 0, so that means at that point,
No heat transfers.
Temperature will be constant at the surface.
yeah, temperature is actually constant. So if temperature is actually constant, then what does that actually mean? If you
No heat
remember,
transfer.
yeah, there is no heat flux. So we said that there is actually one boundary condition we were actually talking about, right? The heat flux boundary condition, we were actually saying Qs is equal to minus k dt by dx. as a special case, we said that for an insulation boundary condition, dt by dx is equal to 0. That means there is no heat flux. Okay. So in a mathematical term, dt by dx means T is equal to maximum or something. But from heat transfer point of view, dt by dx equal to 0 means there is no heat flux. Okay. So that means that at this point of symmetry, okay, or the point where x is equal to maximum, or the point where dt by dx equal to 0, there is no heat flux across this region. Okay. So physically, what does that actually mean is, at this point, okay, so we are just exaggerating that symbol line. Okay, we are just exaggerating that symbol line. So if you are actually seeing that, so that means the temperature over here at the peak 2 points. Okay, or we can just write. Okay, so it might be actually something like this. Okay, so here, if you actually see any of the 2 points, if any of the 2 points, you can always see that there is actually a difference in the temperature. Okay, so difference in temperature means there is actually a gradient. But at the peak point, we can actually see that dt by dx 0 means there is actually no variation of temperature. So maybe at least for 2 or 3 points. Okay, so maybe at least for 2 points. Okay, so if you are actually seeing both sides, we can actually say 3 points. So on the symmetry plane, as well as 1 point on the left side, or 1 point on the right side, and 1 point on the left side. So all these 3 points, they are having the same temperature. Okay, so therefore no heat flux acting across this one. Okay, so across this one, there is actually no heat flux happening. Okay, so you can actually see that therefore on the left side, heat flux starts from this plane of symmetry and it actually goes on like this. Q is actually happening like this. And on the right side, the heat flux is actually happening like this. And in between, so there is actually no transfer happening across the symmetry line. Okay, so that's what dt by dx is equal to 0 means. So there is no heat flux across the symmetry line where dt by dx is equal to 0. Okay, the heat flux is actually there means for every other plane, heat flux is actually there because dt by dx is actually there. But at the plane of symmetry, since dt by dx is 0, there is no heat flux across that. Is that clear? Yeah. So therefore, what we can actually write that it is actually the kind of adiabatic surface. Okay. So which means that we are actually saying at plane of symmetry dt by dx is equal to 0, which means no heat generation or heat transfer, not heat generation, no heat transfer across this plane. Okay, okay, so across this plane, and therefore this plane can be represented as an adiabatic surface. Represented as adiabatic surface. Okay. So therefore, this plane, which is actually within this surface itself, okay, this is just a plane only. It is not a surface, right? So whatever the plane at x is equal to 0, that is actually some portion within this plane, within this volume only. But here, since dt by dx is equal to 0, and it is actually symmetric about both sides, it actually gives us opportunity that we can actually consider this plane of symmetry as a adiabatic surface itself. Okay, even though it is not an actual surface, we can actually consider it as a surface itself. Okay, so this actually gives us the opportunity to reduce the above problem. Okay, therefore, above problem can be reduced to okay, reduced to like this. Okay, so we are actually saying we are having a wall like this. Okay, so since we are actually having a symmetry, we can actually say we are actually saying x is equal to 0 to x is equal to L. Okay, and then the temperature profile is actually going to be like this, and on the surface it is actually going to be Ts. And what is actually the surface condition on LHS? Okay, on this side, what is actually the surface condition, boundary condition? On this side, what is actually the boundary condition?
dt by dx equal to 0.
Very good. dt by dx is equal to 0. Okay. So the above problem we can actually reduce to like this. Okay. So that is actually beautiful. So for the analysis and all, especially for numerical analysis and all, then you can actually use this kind of analysis. Okay. If you are actually sure that there is actually going to be symmetry of the system, if the boundary conditions are actually going to be same on both sides, and the heat generation is actually symmetric, or heat generation is the same throughout, then you can actually use this analogy. Okay, so that is actually the plane of symmetry. So you can actually see that this dt by dx is equal to 0. Whenever we actually talked about that boundary conditions, we said that dt by dx equal to 0 is actually the adiabatic surface condition. So here you can actually see that dt by dx is also applicable for a plane of symmetry. Okay, so that is actually another problem. So now we are actually moving a little bit advanced version for convective boundary condition. Okay, so suppose instead of Ts over here, if you are having a convective boundary condition. Okay, for convective boundary condition, okay, for convective boundary condition, okay, on one side, okay. So our system is actually going to be on both sides. We can actually not on one side, on both sides, and we are actually saying it is actually symmetric. So therefore, on one side we are actually saying dt by dx is equal to 0. Okay. On the other side, we are actually saying h and t infinity. Okay. So the temperature profile will be actually something like this. Okay. That x is equal to 0, x is equal to L. So basically, for a full system, the other side also, the heat transfer coefficient and temperature should be T, h and t infinity. Okay. Yeah. How can we actually solve this? Yeah, we can actually solve it using this regular analysis, means with starting from d squared t by dx square plus q generated by k is equal to 0. From there itself, we can actually start. There is actually no issues. Okay. But since we have already done that, I'm just showing one trick on how you can actually do this. So this can be actually done by analysis by boundary conditions and all. An easy way is actually to do an energy balance. Okay, so here we are actually saying at x is equal to L, we are actually saying minus k dt by dx is equal to minus k dt by dx is equal to h into ts minus t infinity. Okay, but ts is actually unknown. Ts is unknown and need to be found. Okay, so once we actually found this ts, then we have to actually put into our basic equation. Okay, yeah. So we can actually say we can actually put into the basic equation of 23. Then you can actually use that. Okay, because we are actually saying still surface temperature is actually some temperature Ts, but we don't know what is actually Ts. We know this temperature in terms of h and t infinity. So that's what we are actually going to find out. Okay. So now it is actually the tricky part. What is actually minus k dt by dx? Okay, so what is actually minus k dt by dx? So we can actually say that one equation is that, or one tricky part is that, instead of using, this is actually, this equation we are actually getting from the energy balance, right? So here from the energy balance, we also know that the heat whatever generated, is what heat is actually gone out. Okay, so whatever the heat that is actually being convected to the outer liquid is actually the heat whatever generated within this surface, not surface, generated within this system. Okay, so whatever the heat generated, that is what it is actually being convected out. Okay, so that from there we can actually see what is actually going to happen. So, but what is actually the heat generated? Heat generator is heat generated per cubic volume into volume. Okay, what is actually the volume of the system? It is equal to length into cross-sectional area, right? So length is equal to L, and the cross-sectional area we are actually assuming it as A. So that is actually the total heat generated. So heat generated per unit volume into the volume of the system. So that is equal to HA Ts minus T infinity. Is that clear? So therefore we can actually cancel this A off. So from here you can actually find Ts equal to heat generated into L divided by H plus T infinity. Okay. So now we can actually put this into equation 23. So 23 can be actually modified as T is equal to Q heat generated into L square by 2K into 1 minus X square by L square plus QL by H plus T infinity. Okay. So that's how we can actually do this. So basically, in energy generated problems, okay, this is actually the concept you can actually use. Okay, so heat generated is what the heat convected out. So heat generated should be actually convected out. Then only we will get a steady state condition. Okay, we are actually not considering any unsteady equations. We can actually write due to steady assumption. So due to steady assumption, whatever the heat generated inside, it should be actually convected also. Okay. Yeah. So that is actually what we need to actually know on this heat 1D conduction. Okay, with the heat generation in the Cartesian system. Any doubts? Any doubts still here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Yeah. So we will actually see this heat generation in cylindrical systems also. Okay. So, but this is what we can actually see for the 1D steady state. Okay. Yeah. So now we are actually going to see a small topic also. So till now we are actually considering the thermal conductivity to be actually constant. Okay. In any of the cases we can actually see we were actually taking this temperature out, and we were actually calculating for any of the calculations. We have never said anything of the effect of conductivity on temperature on conductivity. Okay, so everywhere we are actually using this K as it is. Okay, here also we are actually assuming K to be actually constant, and temperature is actually made in terms of K and all. But in some of the conditions, we can actually see that the temperature or the conductivity is actually a function of temperature. Okay? You can actually see it over here. This I have actually taken from a heat transfer approach by Sanjay. Okay? So here you can actually see that for many of the solids and all, the heat variation or the thermal conductivity is actually a function of temperature. But mind it, it is actually varying from 100 Kelvin to 2000 Kelvin. Okay. Here, some solids it is actually varying very like aluminum oxide and all the variations are actually very high. But in some other like aluminium, gold, copper, silver, etc., the variations are actually very less. Okay, so you can see that this overall variation, it is over a very large temperature. But in our practical situations, if you are actually saying, say, temperature is actually varying for 100 degree or 200 degrees or 300 degrees, you can actually see that the variations are actually not that high, especially for good conductors. Okay, so in many of the situations, you can actually neglect the variation, and what you can actually do is you can actually go for an average value. Okay, so but in some of the cases, we have to actually consider the variation in temperature, conductivity. But the issue is that if you're actually again going to include the variation of conductivity, okay, then again the analysis for even for this simple equation, it is actually going to be very much complicated, because this k itself is actually going to be a function of temperature. Okay, so that itself is actually going to be an iterative process. It's actually going to be very tricky. Okay, so instead of that, we can actually find some average values of conductivity. So that's what we are actually going to see it over here. So how we can actually find the average value and what is actually the basis for that, all those things we'll actually see. A small topic only, which actually says variable thermal conductivity. Variable thermal conductivity. Okay. Yeah. So here we are actually saying K is actually a function only of temperature. Okay. So that means it is actually not a function of dimensions. It is function only of temperature. Okay. As we said, most of the practical situations, we need to, it is actually not needed. An average value can be actually there if the temperature variations or the variation of conductivity is actually very less, and an average value is actually going to be done. Okay? A small average value can be actually done, but if it is actually going to be, the variations are actually very severe, a weighted average need to be actually done. So that's what we are actually going to see. When the variations in thermal conductivity K are severe, okay, then it is necessary to take into account. Then we need to actually go for the when we need to actually consider this variation. Okay, so then an averaging can be actually done. Averaging of K can be actually done. Okay. So assumption is that obviously we are actually going only for 1D conduction. Okay. So but the requirement for the conduction is that requirement is that what we are actually saying is, suppose if you are having some medium, okay, we are having some medium, and we are actually no heat generation. We are actually assuming, okay, so no heat generation. So we are actually saying some heat flux is actually going to happen, okay, and we are actually saying K is actually a function of temperature, and temperature is actually varying from T1 to T2. Okay, so that is actually our conduction. So here we know that Q is equal to K into dt by dx. Okay, so that we actually know, but unfortunately for us, it is actually K itself is actually a function of temperature. It doesn't matter. The heat flux always is actually going to be this equation minus K dt by dx. So what we are actually saying is the actual condition. If we are actually doing this, then we will actually get some kind of heat flux, some value of heat flux. If we are actually doing. Okay. So what we are actually saying is, this variation in heat flux, the conductivity in varying in temperature are all fine, but we must actually have if we are actually considering an average value, okay, if we are actually considering an average value, then that also that means K average into dt by dx. Okay, so K average into dt by dx. We are actually considering some average value, then also it should actually give the same heat flux as that of the varying conductivity. Okay? An average value of conductivity, you should actually give the same value as that of the varying conductivity. And obviously the temperatures as well as the dT by dx, it is actually going to be same throughout. Okay? So that is actually going to be the requirement. So therefore the requirement is that rate of heat transfer through a medium with average thermal conductivity with the constant. We are actually saying now it is actually average, means it is actually not a function of temperature, so it is actually constant throughout. Okay? So constant average thermal conductivity we can actually say K average AVE or something. Okay? Average equals rate of heat transfer through the same medium, heat transfer through same medium with variable thermal conductivity. Conductivity KT. Okay. So what we are actually saying is K average into T2 minus T1 divided by L. Okay. It should be actually equal to, we have actually derived this equation, right? We have actually derived this first equation. It should be equal to minus KT dt by dx. Okay, so in this case, what we are actually saying is T2 is actually going to be less than that of T1. Okay, so T2 is actually going to be less than that of T1. So that's why we have actually written it like this. Okay. So what we are actually going to do, we are going to do some algebra, some simple algebra. So we can actually write KAVE, okay, into dx by L. We are integrating from 0 to L is equal to minus KT, okay, by T, or we can just cancel the negative terms. Okay, we can actually write T1 minus T2. Okay, integral, say it is actually varying from T2 to T1, right? It is actually varying from T2 to T1 into dt. Okay, so if you are actually integrating it, then you can actually see that L is actually constant. So integral dx 0 to L, it will actually give us L. That L and L is actually going to get cancelled. Here we cannot actually integrate anything because T1 and T2 are all going to be functions only, or are all independent only. So this T1 minus T2 is actually not going to take participate. We know what is actually the function of KT and dt. Okay, so we cannot actually integrate RHS. So what we can actually write is K average is equal to integral T2 by T1 KT dt divided by T1 minus T2. Okay, so this is actually the equation what we have to actually see. We can actually write it as 24. Okay, yeah. So this is actually the form, or this is actually the equation in which you can actually find this averaging for thermal conductivity, if it is actually a function only of temperature. Okay. Yeah, if we can actually give some function of K as a function of temperature, then we can actually integrate it. Okay, so luckily for us, in most of the conductivity, so in many of the situations, we can actually give K as a function of temperature. In many of the cases, it is just linearly dependent. If you actually see that figure, if you see the figure, we're actually taking a small region, say for a region of 100 degrees. Okay. Suppose maybe which one? We can actually take stainless steel. Okay. Stainless steel, we can actually say from 300 to 500 or 400 Kelvin. You can see that that is almost linear. Okay, so if any of the sections, if we are actually talking about a small temperature region, so all of the temperature variations can be actually assumed to be linear. Okay? So therefore, we can actually give a linear relationship between conductivity and temperature in many of the cases. Okay? So therefore, we can actually say that thermal conductivity can be expressed as Kt is equal to some basic value K0 into 1 plus beta into T. Okay? It is actually varying linearly with temperature. So therefore, beta is the temperature coefficient of thermal conductivity. Is the temperature coefficient of thermal conductivity. Okay. And K0 is conductivity at K0 is thermal conductivity at a base temperature. Okay. So we can actually find any base temperature. Based on that, we can actually see what is actually the temperature. Okay. So, but in many of the cases, what we are actually saying is instead of simply T, we are actually even saying delta T. Okay, so that is actually some other cases. So we are actually saying we are actually saying K0 at T0. Okay, and then we are actually saying K is equal to K0 1 plus beta delta T. So delta T is equal to any T minus T0. So that is actually another way of writing this. That is also will actually give the same results. Okay, yeah. So that is actually one other way of writing this. But anyway, if we are having this equation at our hand, with whatever the equation we are having at our hand, we can actually see a little bit more. Okay? So what we are actually going to do is we are actually going to find K average using the equation whatever actually given. Okay? We can actually write as equation 25. Okay, putting 25 in 24. Okay, what is actually 24? It is actually the average. We can actually write K average is equal to integral T2 to T1 K0 1 plus beta T divided by dt divided by T1 minus T2. Okay, then we can actually see that here you can actually write K0 T plus B T square. Okay, then you can actually input T1 K0 T1 minus T2 plus B beta into T1 square minus T2 square. Again, T1 minus T square, T1 square minus T2 square, we can actually write as T1 plus T2 and T1 minus T2. Okay, so and we can actually cancel off this T1 minus T2 because T1 minus T2 is actually common in both the cases. So if you are actually doing all this, what you are actually coming up is K0 1 plus beta T1 plus T2 by 2. Okay, so that is actually one way of doing it. So if you are actually talking about delta T, okay, so if you are actually saying K0 1 plus beta delta T, so then this equation will be a bit different. So the T0 term also will actually come into the picture because while integrating, that is actually considered constant. Again, integration need to be actually done again on that. So therefore, some the difference is actually going to be a little bit over there. But still, you can actually do that. That is actually simple integration. So this is how you can actually take into consideration this thermal conductivity or the effect of temperature on the thermal conductivity. Okay. So in many of the cases, as we said, the conductivity, if it is actually given as a function, you can integrate it before putting it into your temperature based on your intuitions. You can actually first find what is actually an average temperature, and then you can actually first you can actually find what is actually the average thermal conductivity, and you can actually use that and do your problems on it. Okay. Yeah. So any doubts still here?
No, sir.
Okay, so therefore that actually concludes the 1D heat conduction, steady state heat conduction without heat generation in the Cartesian program. So next class we will actually, or next lecture we will actually start on with the cylindrical problems. The same we will actually do. First we will actually see without heat generation, and we will actually see whether we can actually use the electric analogy in the cylindrical coordinate system also. Okay. And then we will actually see with heat generation and what are the equations are actually coming out, etc. We will actually see. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So also I have actually sent you this tutorial programs. Okay, so everyone should actually go through that. Next class we will actually discuss, and I will not be actually solving each and every problems like that. I will actually give you the steps which should be actually followed for solving the equations, or the steps for solving the problems. Okay. So therefore, it is actually going to be easy for you if you are actually going through the problems earlier. Otherwise, you will be actually be lost. So. Yeah, otherwise it is actually going to be difficult for you to follow. So everyone should actually go through the problems and try to solve it once. So when we are actually discussing, it will be actually very easy for you. Okay. So next class on Thursday, we'll actually solve this tutorial. Okay. So anything further? Any issues or any doubts or anything?
Nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay then. Be safe, everyone. So because the numbers are actually climbing very high, very fast, at a very faster rate. So everyone should be actually be very careful and yeah. So take the vaccinations if you haven't any. So try to be use mask and all the precautionary items all the time. So you won't miss us classes and also you won't lose your health. And all. Okay, then have a nice day to all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.